Hi, everyone. This is Rita Desnoyers-Garcia at Becoming Awake. I'm just going to change this to Becoming Awake and the Calm Mom Alliance and the Becoming Awake YouTube channel. And this week, we're going to be talking about being the change you want to see in the world. I'm going to see if I can get a better view here. Let's see. All right, I'm going to do this. All right. So first, I want to talk about being the change you want to see in the world. What does that even mean? We're going to talk about what that means. Then we're going to talk about like the different steps to getting there and how you do it. How do you do it? How do you be it? So this is what I came up with. So what is we've all heard this quote, be the change you want to see in the world, and Mahatma Gandhi, a brilliant man, great leader, world leader. And but have you really thought about what that means? So to me, be the change really means embodying and acting from that embodiment of the change that you want to see. So I have another quote for you to ponder that came into my head as I was writing this. And it was this Einstein quote, and which goes, "We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them." So what does that mean? That really means, from my point of view, that when we have problems and we're creating them or we're experiencing them, we're kind of in problem thinking. And that in order to solve the problems, we kind of have to go into solution thinking. So it's kind of two different states of thinking. And it's not saying that you can never solve a problem if you're not completely in solution thinking. But what I've noticed in my own life is that when I rush to solve a problem without actually looking at my energy or being conscious of where I am with that problem, I either make the problem worse, there's no change in the problem, or I've created more problems. So I want you to think about in your life when you've been really trying hard to solve a problem, but you just feel like your tires in the mud and you're not going anywhere. You're not making any traction. That could be that you're not thinking solution wise, you're thinking problem wise. So that kind of coincides from my point of view with be the change, because if you're coming at being the change from the problem, you may be creating more problem instead of being the change, being the solution. So I just wanted to bring those two together. So, and, think about that. The first step in the process that I use when I'm trying to be the change is to figure out, well, what is the problem? What am I trying to change here? So it's a good place to start, even though you may be in problem thinking, because you got to start somewhere and you got to be honest with where you are, right? So if you're trying to just forget the problem and go right to the solution, sometimes that can backfire on you because you're just kind of, you're not being honest with yourself about where you are. So for instance, if the problem is you got no money, right? For instance, to pretend that that's not real, sometimes you can make things worse, like you start spending money that you don't have, for instance. But if you're really just looking at reality and going, okay, I have $5 in my bank account. Okay, that's the problem, right? I have $5 in my bank account. Then you have to go into solution thinking. She comes. You have to go into solution thinking before you can move into being the change, right? Because if you are trying to make a change, but you're still like, I'm broke, you're going to make more I'm broke versus shifting. But of course you have to admit, this is where you are. This is the reality, so that you can deal with that. Okay. The next step that you do is you start making a list of, well, what would you like to change to? Well, I'd like to go from being broke to having abundance, or having more money flowing into my account, or feeling more free, or not feeling weighed down by this, or letting go of my worries about it. then you have a place where you're going towards the change, and you can get really big with that, with your solutions without denying reality. So that's the second thing, is what would the change be? And keep in mind that the changes that you come up in your mind immediately may not be what happens or what is the best thing that needs to happen. Because oftentimes when we're in a problem, we have this kind of set solution in our mind, and then we get really pissed off when it doesn't happen. And we've all been there. And I just want to say that that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that there's another solution out there, or there's another way it's going to happen. Or there's another reason why it's not happening. It's okay. And then the third step is to list what you can do or be in order to support these solutions. So for instance, in the money situation, I'm broke is the first list. The second list is I'd like to feel more abundant. Okay, what can I do to embody that or support that? It could be, I'm going to be generous. It could be, I'm going to raise my prices. It could be, I'm going to start a business. It could be, I'm going to support other business owners and see what they're doing that's working really well, and maybe I borrow from them. So you're in solution mode, you're feeling more expanded, and then you are doing and thinking and acting and being from that place of the solution. Okay, so let's give some more concrete examples. The first list could be hunger, war, violence, fear, cruelty. Those are the 5 that came up when I thought about problems in the larger world. So what would be possible solutions? Abundance, charity, empowerment, peace, communication, compassion, love, empathy. Okay, that's your second list. Those are the solutions, or where you'd like to be. Then the third part is, how do you get there? Okay, by being generous, feeling your own power, connecting with your own peace, having clear and kind communication, being compassionate with yourself and others, loving yourself unconditionally and being loving with others, and imagining what it's like for others, so having empathy. So those are just some examples. A great exercise for you to do while I'm talking is to just make these lists for yourself and see what comes up. Make a running list. What are the things that I'm seeing are as problems? What would be a possible solution? And how can I embody that and take action on that? It doesn't have to be big world problems. It's probably better to just stick to your own personal life for now and then get bigger, because it all relates and is entangled with each other anyway, but see what comes up for you. Okay, so how do you do this? One thing is to say, okay, be more generous or feel your power. So how do you do that? So I use a number of strategies to being the change. One is noticing the actual behaviors that allow me to make the change. So in other words, supporting myself, taking care of myself. That could be a million different things. So for some of it, it's going to be getting a better night's sleep. For some, it's going to be eating healthier foods. For some, it's going to be, maybe getting off some addictive substance, whatever it is, sugar, nicotine, caffeine, alcohol, drugs. For some, it's going to be really being kind to yourself. When the tendency in your mind is to say, oh, I'm so stupid, or why did I do that, or what's wrong with me, then you can bring the kindness in and say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You don't deserve that. Just that can change the world, by the way, just one of those things. Having healthy boundaries. So a big one for people that I work with is they don't have healthy boundaries. They say yes when they mean no. They volunteer for things that they have no business volunteering for, don't really want to do, or they're doing it for some reason that's not in their integrity, like, oh, well, if I say no to this, then they'll think I'm a bad person, something like that. Having boundaries with people just in social interactions. If people are touching you and you don't want them to touch you, or people are pushing their opinions on you, or people are, just violating some sort of boundary, it's okay to say no, or I gotta go, or no, thank you, or please move your hand, or whatever you need to say. Those are ways of being the change, because one of the things that happens is when we allow our boundaries to be violated over and over again, we feel more helpless in the world. That's not going to help the world. That's not being the change. We feel like a victim, right? Because we allow the boundaries to be crossed over and over again. And we don't need more victims in the world. We need people who feel empowered. And you do that by having healthy boundaries. And that may take some work and may need seeing someone to help you with that, but it's totally worth it. What's another way? Let me see. Doing shadow work. So doing work on parts of yourself that maybe you've cut off from yourself, parts of yourself that you've put away that you're either ashamed of or embarrassed by, or you think you're not supposed to have, or things that are in the shadows. Looking at those, bringing those into the light and looking at them, either with a coach or on your own, and there's a million books out there. That's being the change that you want to see in the world, because the shadows are what's motivating people to do all sorts of terrible things. So if you want to not be one of those people that's doing things that are adding more to that, bring in the shadow, bring it into the light so you can see it for what it is and address it. Okay, so what else do I want to say here? One of the things I really want to emphasize is that being in the state of solutions, being in that state of being, does not mean avoiding uncomfortable feelings or problems. It doesn't mean that. It means that you look at them. Part of the solution is looking at them, addressing them, facing them, processing them. So if you're feeling afraid, or you're feeling anger, or you're feeling jealous, or you're feeling raged, or you feel despair, you don't just jump over it. You allow yourself to process it. And once again, you may need someone to help you do that. There are a million different ways to do that, and you can find resources. If you're stuck on anything, just, come see me and I can help you with that. But that is really, really important. Being the change is about allowing the discomfort to come up and processing it so that it can be released and you can feel what's underneath that, which is a lot of the change that you want, like joy, love, peace, calm, abundance, right? Compassion. So what do you do to be it? Well, first you do some stuff, you do these strategies, and then being it is something that naturally that will come up. And for me, meditation's been key. I meditate an hour a day. I've been doing that for about, I would say 5 weeks to almost 2 months now. And I've really noticed the change. Now, you don't have to meditate for an hour, but some sort of meditative practice really is helpful. And it helps you to connect with that state of being that supports all those actions. And then all those actions are going to support that way of being. So it's this beautiful, virtuous cycle. It helps with your thinking. It helps with your doing. It helps with what you're saying and how you're acting. And it's a beautiful thing. So practice, 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 meditation, yoga, walking in nature, processing your feelings, just being more conscious of what's going on in your day, creating a day that's supportive of you being in this state can be really helpful. Although you can be in this state no matter how your day goes, it's helpful. It's really helpful, especially in the beginning, to create a schedule that supports whatever it is that you're doing to help you be in that state of being, whether it's meditation or exercise or eating right, sleeping, all that stuff. So that's what I really wanted to say about this. And I hope that's been helpful to you. And what we're going to do after is I'm going to stop this recording, and then I'm going to do answering any questions that you have. But in the meantime, if you like this video and you want to see more of it, please press the like and the subscribe so that you don't miss anything. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, all of my information is down below. You can click on it and we can have a wonderful Calm Mom call. Okay, take care, guys. See you later.